Hey there, Dango Stu here. Today's video is about stopping a leak in a stern gland while the boat's in the water. It is proudly sponsored by marineengine.com. I ended up running at quite high RPM to get into Foster to cross the bar while the tide was still high, and I noticed when I got in the stern gland was leaking quite a bit. Because of the corrosion on the stern gland, I couldn't simply tighten the nuts to push it further into the stuffing box, compress the packing, and therefore expand it a bit more. Normally that would slow a leak like this down. Because of that, I ended up using nuts on the studs on the inside to push the stern gland out so I could clean it up and start repairing it. It ended up being quite a battle to get the stern gland out because it's obviously right at the back against the bulkhead there and also underneath the battery shelf, so you're sort of really, cramped and ducked under there. But really it was the only way I could fix it enough to leave the boat for a couple of weeks because the weather's pretty bad for 2 weeks and I won't get a chance to bring it the last little bit down the coast until the weather settles again. Anyway, I'll show you what it took. Just trying to use these studs to pull this rusty stuffing box out. Stuffing gland. It's so getting replaced when I get back to Sydney. It has not been a success story. I don't know why they made it out of mild steel, given they're a marine company. Just been loading it up, tapping it with a hammer, loading it up, tapping it with a hammer. Oh, what have I done with the hammer? Oh man, it's bloody hot in here. Question is, do I do a stainless version of this or a PSS steel? If you work for a dripless seal company, get in touch. I'd love to hear from you right now. Every time I tap it, the tension's coming off these studs quite a bit, so I think we're getting there. And then the question is, can we get a couple of more rings of packing in and clean the stuffing box and grease it enough to get it in before I drown trapped in the engine bay. That'll be exciting. Man. Old mate of mine, Nick, he's dead now. He was at sea, smashed the front windows in a big sea. Said he could hear the bilge pump coming on, saw the light, and he said, but the light was coming on and off. And he said he didn't worry then because he knew the bilge pump was keeping up. As soon as the bilge pump's on full time, you got no idea whether it's just keeping up, not even close to keeping up. So I figure, whatever the bilge pump's going on and off, we're in good shape. I always remember that, Mick. Words of wisdom. Because it's starting to come now without the taps, just put the third bolt in so we can pull it evenly. Really just hoping it doesn't spit the old packing out. All I want to do is add a couple more rings in. Still tight.
Alright, it's definitely coming now. Alright. Gonna get these studs out so I can clean the stuffing gland up. Get it to slide in a bit better. Then we'll squeeze a couple more. There's only a tiny gap, just enough to get each bit of packing in, I think. Alright, bilge pump just went off, so we're on the safe side of mixed law still. The main reason I'm cleaning this up, even though I'm going to replace it, is because I want it to slide in further and allow me to expand the packing more. I think that's, well, I don't think I've got enough rings in. I think I've only got 3 in. I reckon there's enough room for 5, which is why I'm just adding more rings rather than replacing the old packing for now. It's not that old. Alright. That's better than it was, that's for sure. Alright, let's get this packing. Might need to get something to sort of tap it in, I think. Even just getting that in without compressing it, you can see it's slowed it down heaps. Looks like we're winning. I think it's worth getting that second piece in, as tired as I am. And then I'm so upgrading. Actually, next big job on this boat is to upgrade the entire drivetrain, essentially. New prop shaft, new prop, new seal. It's all going. Last big job. Question is, are our studs long enough to drag that in? You have to find some way of compressing it more. Maybe more tapping. Or a screwdriver, which is not ideal, I know, but nothing about this is ideal. Sometimes you just gotta improvise when you're at sea. That's why I think I'm a big fan of the bodge. It's all well and good to have all the right stuff in your nice clean workshop. None of that's going to be with you when the proverbial hits the fan. All you're going to have is your ability to make do with the things you've got. It's getting there. I got the second bit of packing started now. It's down to a dribble, even without the stuffing box or the gland pushed in. Just having a rest. It's so hot, so cramped down there. Mightn't seem like a huge job, but I think we're into the 4th hour of it now. I didn't film the beginning. Struggling to get the box out. You saw it sort of finally come. Same process, just rinse, repeat. Just in case this doesn't make sense, I'll put a little bit of an explanation about how these stuffing boxes work and why you can take it out without water, you know, rushing in anymore. Just in case you haven't seen one of these before. The arrangement is, we've got the prop shaft here from the gearbox to outside where the water is. Then we have, this is the bulkhead here, then we have the stuffing box here, and it's about 1/2 inch, in my case, can be less, larger diameter than the prop shaft.
So when I put this packing in, there's 5 rings of packing. So these are the ends of the ring. If you imagine a cross section cut through. So normally it would be prop shaft like this, and then sort of rings of packing around it like that. Sort of going around like that. But if we look at the ends, then there's a flange here. Then we have this stern gland. So this is the stuffing box where the packing goes inside. Then the stern gland is a tube here with a flange on the end, and those threaded studs go through a flange on the stuffing box and the flange on the stern gland. When you tighten the nut on the end of that threaded rod, it brings the stuffing box in this way and compresses the packing here. What happens there is you have the packing, say it's a square shape. As you compress it that way, it goes to being more of a taller rectangle. It gains a bit of height and loses a bit of width, but that means it seals off the gap between the stuffing box and the shaft. You need a little bit of water to get in here for cooling, otherwise you will burn up this packing. So the tension you put on this stern gland here is critical. If it starts to leak too much, tighten it up. If it's not dripping a little bit while you're running, you need to back it off. When we had the stern gland completely out, the stern gland's not doing the sealing. The sealing is done by the packing here against the shaft. So really it would have taken water to kind of come in here and push that packing out for it to fail. But I think you'd be very unlucky for that to happen, particularly given that the packing has to be hard up against a bit of metal here because it needs something to compress against. So as you can see, if you took the old packing out and replaced it, a lot of water would come in. Not impossible to do the job still, but a lot messier. But because I simply left 3 in and added 2 more, it was pretty good. Another thing you commonly see is a grease nipple here. So you can pump grease with a grease gun in just behind the packing here. So the water's sort of pushing this way, the grease fills around the shaft in that small gap, comes up against the packing, and you can stop this dripping while the boat's not moving. So often you'll turn the boat off, give it a couple of pumps of grease, stop it dripping, and it's good to go. So that's something I don't have and something that I think I will add in the future as well. I've just got to figure out where the packing stops, where the bulkhead is, you know, where's the best place for me to get in and drill the hole for that grease nipple. All right, now I've got to try and get some locking nuts on here so I can undo this nut, so I can move the stud down and starting to tighten it. Alright, got some grease on, got one of the studs in. If I can get the packing gland to come in a little bit, I should be able to get the other studs out, fixed up, and then back in, and then I think we're done. Nightmare job, but we're getting there. Now it's wire brushed and greased. Certainly going in a lot easier than it came out, that's for sure. Okay, I'll take this one to Nick's now and get the nut off, and then we can get 2 of them in. Well, might be messy, might be ugly, definitely rusty, but no longer pouring in. Very good. Well, thanks for watching. Not the most riveting job, but a really important job you do see you need to do from time to time on boats. A little bit easier on the hard stand because, you know, you've got no stress about water coming in. But as you can see, even when the stern gland was completely removed, water didn't really flow in. The packing was still kind of doing its job. The seal for this prop shaft definitely needs improving. I'm reticent to go to like a dripless seal because I like this system. It's very simple, it's very user serviceable. I think what I need to do is make a stainless steel stern gland, always have the full 5 rings in. I should have added more initially as well. And I'm also going to add that grease nipple behind it so that I can always pump a bit of grease when the boat's not running as well. All right, well, take care, and I'll catch you next week when I finally get around to editing the trip down the coast. I was going to edit it that day, but this job ended up being a priority, so I'll get on to that editing now. All right, take care, I'll catch you soon. See ya. Rainy old day today. You two having breakfast? Daffy being noisy down there, having breakfast. What are you doing, Daisy? Hiding under the banana trees. Well, everyone's eating. I think I should too.